Well, here we are again. I got to say, just like I said last time, it's like I'm really surprised that we're doing this at all. Like how it actually is exploding, and I don't feel like I'm being hyperbolic saying that. But before we get into it, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, and I do not think you're being hyperbolic at all. The responses we got from from the filmmakers that we've been covering here on Versus has been for the most part kind of positive, and especially I do want to thank our last interviewee, Julia Quayle. She has helped us reach some people that like we definitely have wanted to interview, and I think today is like one of the top three, if not like the very top person that we have wanted to interview so far.
I'm not shy. This was like my number one. Like out of the crew that they have over there in the United Kingdom, like every single time, like from Jump Street, I told him in the chat, like ever since the Killing Tree, I was like, this guy is like killing it every time I see him. But let's just bring him in because like everybody should know. If you don't know him, you will. Mr. Marcus Massey is here to talk to us today. Marcus, it is actually, I'm not being hyperbolic again. It is an honor to have you on the show. Thank you for doing it.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, at least I'm in the top three. Well, there's one thing. What's happening? I'll tell you what, when John and Will said to me, well, we'd love to have you, I just had one answer, and that was, I'll be there. I mean,
I like it.
What else could I say? What else could I hoot? Yeah.
I mean, we've on the show covered a bunch of movies you're in, and I've seen a bunch of movies you're in. But the best question to always start with is like, what were the beginnings like? Was it like something you've always done since you were a child, or like how'd you get into acting in general?
It's something that I wanted to do. But as with all things, especially when you're young, you're good at certain things and you get pushed into various areas. I was good at maths, physics, chemistry, and so forth, and I got pushed into that area. And people encourage you to do things which along the line, which, I mean, yeah, fair enough. I was good at it, at the time, but it's not necessarily, you get to a stage when you get to your mid-20s, when you start thinking to yourself, okay, fair enough, but actually I want to go in a different direction and do some other sort of work. I mean, you go to the cinema, you go to the theater, you go to go to a gig, and you're there in the audience watching, and you get this urge to go, why am I here when what I really want to be is there?
Yeah, we call that a quarter life crisis, I believe, is the psychological term for it.
And yeah. I mean, and to be fair, it is. But then it's a question of how do you get from here to there, and that's the thing that takes a long time to tackle, especially if you're not doing it when you're young and that's the direction you've been pushed into, because then you've got to go, all right, you know what, I've got to get trained, but then to get trained you need to have enough money. But it's not just a question of getting money for being trained, it's also a question of whilst you're training you need to live and eat, and you need to and you need to have some, so all of that has to be accumulated.
It kind of begs the next question. So you were living like your regular life, working in the sciences, and then So how did you make the jump? Was it just like, let me do the research, let me do like check the want ads? Like how do you jump? How do you make that leap?
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, you've got to decide on how to. I mean, before you even decide on where to train, you've got to. There's no point in even doing that until you've accumulated enough money to be able to then take that challenge on. So it takes a long time because, as you probably know, living in a city like London sucks all the money out of you, right? Just living, let alone anything else. So it can take quite some time to walk. But it's a question of any journey. It's very unlikely that you go straight. You have to kind of do a kind of zigzag path, and then and that's why it takes years. So you have to be dedicated. That's what it is. But the point is, you find a way.
Well, what would you say was your break then? Like, what was like? So you're doing the kind of struggling artist thing for a minute there. You're getting trained. You're putting yourself out there. What was the break where you turned the corner?
Well, I mean, these things can happen in funny ways. I mean, one of the things that I used to do was voiceover. Well, I still do from the voiceover, but I started doing that because, of course, you can have your kit. Yeah, you've got your mic, you've got your preamp. Yeah, and you record it like and you have a room where you can do that, and so you get work doing that, which is one step in the right direction. And then I thought to myself, well, you know what, I can get on film sets by buying a recorder and then doing and getting on film sets by being a sound recordist. So I was doing that for some time until I got to the stage where you don't want to do this on day one to the first person going, oh, by the way, you're the sound recordist. You turn up on set and then you go, well, actually, I'm not a sound recordist. I'm an actor. You don't want to go down that road.
Right.
But
the Trojan horse. You do the Trojan horse.
Because that really, you lose a lot of confidence from the people who are employing you by doing that. But but what you can do is get to know loads of people, and then when you know people, then you can go, oh, by the way, there's this aspect too, but that's my direction. It's not the direction or a direction that I recommend for anybody, unless, of course, they come from the angle that I came from, in which case it's obviously valid. But it's not valid if that's not the area which you there are many other ways as well.
I think that makes sense to me a lot, because I think the first thing I saw you in, where I noticed you, was like a role where it was a partial voice role, because you played a killer, somewhat CGI Christmas tree in The Killing Tree.
Yeah.
So so I mean, that's kind of jumping into somewhat at the middle of everything, but I would say like that was a very interesting movie to me, and I have one specific question about it. But tell me a little bit about The Killing Tree and like how you came into being.
Oh yeah. Well, bizarrely enough, Killing Tree came about when I was filming Dinosaur Hotel 2. And at one point during Dinosaur Hotel 2, we were in the car park just about to drive off the set when Reese said to me, all right, you know what, I've got this brilliant idea. It's brilliant. And I said, okay, what is it? And he goes, all right, well, the idea is it's this Christmas tree, which and there's this human soul in the Christmas tree, and it's going around killing people in sort of Christmas tree type of ways. And I was going, what? That's what? I don't get it. He goes, no, it's going to be really good. I'm going, what? Yeah, this is bonkers. This is absolute bonkers.
I would agree.
I don't even understand anything. Anyway, and then about 3 months later, he sent me the script, and I read it, and I go, you know what? This is totally bonkers, but it's good bonkers. Because it's so mad. It's brilliant. And the thing is, you got you have the Christmas films, and then you have the Christmas comedy films. Why not have a Christmas horror comedy?
Right. And I said in the review I did years ago, I was like, we needed a spiritual follow-up to Jack Frost, because that's about a killer snowman. Why not do a killer Christmas tree? But my one question about the production of The Killing Tree is there's clearly scenes where the Christmas tree is a gigantic CGI Christmas tree. But then there's scenes where the Christmas tree is a Christmas tree, like walking around. Now, were you just doing the voiceover work, or did they actually put you in that Christmas tree suit?
No, I was in it.
That makes it even better.
What the
Absolutely, it was tremendous Christmas tree costume, and
Yes.
it was heavy. It was really, really heavy.
Sure.
But the weird thing about it is that it had these straps going over the shoulders, but the straps were too wide. They were about this wide, so they're too wide for me. So either they're kind of perching on the edges, which then is really hurts because it was really heavy, or I put one side, the other one is off, and then I kind of pull it along like this. And then when that hurts too much, then I put it on the other side and pull it along like that. Now, in the method, we call this a gift because essentially what it is it means that it's got, when you see the Christmas tree, I mean, obviously there's no scampering involved. When you see it shuffling along, it's kind of shuffling along like kind of sideways, and then it sits down, then it growls a bit, and then it shuffles away. That was only because the straps, and it was hurting. But the thing is, it added this character. This
Can't believe I lost that map. This is taking ages.
this ineffable character to this tree, where it just added to this. All right, he's such an old curmudgeonal tree that and he's like, you know, pulling it on the other side and that side, and you can't. If it had fitted perfectly, I wouldn't even be able to fake that, because you wouldn't be able to fake it because it was too heavy. So it's a gift.
And all that while carrying a knife in your hand too, as well.
Oh yes. You can see. You can actually see the hands.
Yes.
And I was going, well, look. The thing is, you can see the hands. And he goes, no, that's fine. That will just add to it.
Yes, I agree with everything. I was blown away by that movie. I was like, this is like, it's definitely like, you hear people talk about movies that like they're so bad they're good, but this isn't even in that wasn't even in that territory for me. I was like, they know exactly what they're doing. This is like, it's absurd on purpose, and I got to say, huge fan of that movie.
And it makes, and it only makes, and it's only funny because everybody's taking it dead seriously.
Right. Speaking of things people were taking just absolutely dead seriously, you brought it up earlier, and it is it was one of our first collaborations in the early incarnation of what is now Versus Dinosaur Hotel 2. Like, that movie is absolutely absolutely maddening for like completely different reasons. Like, you have all these like ridiculous CGI dinosaurs, and everyone reacting either to that or like reacting adjacent to it. How did you when you came on to that production, had you seen the first Dinosaur Hotel, and how did you process that character? How did you like figure out how did you like get into that character in that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, when I was first cast in the role, I hadn't seen Dinosaur Hotel, but then obviously you kind of quick, because you need to drink in the lore of the Dinosaur Hotel world, because that's the whole world that you're living in, and but it holds up on its own as a satirical look at these terrible
reality competition shows.
Reality competitions, yes, where people are exploited and nobody's killed, obviously, by dinosaurs, but certainly they are. They have to have psychologists and psychiatrists on board the production, and then there's fallout, and then complaints, and then misrepresentation, and at the moment, what's happening in the UK is a very, very, very nasty situation, which only hit the news a couple of days ago, which I'm not going to talk about because it's just horrible. But the point is that it's all there on the news, and this is yet another example of a reality show which has gone disastrously for all sorts of people, and then their accusations of this, that, and the other, and that's what we are doing in Dinosaur Hotel 2. We're doing it in a obviously satirical manner, but I decided that I would. The character is bad. He's a baddie, obviously.
So, we're gonna have an exclusive interview as soon as she is washed up, stitched up, and dressed up. Right here, now, so don't go too far away from your screens. I'm Eddie Leary, and this is Dinosaur Hotel.
But as with all baddies, they're baddies because they've gone this way in life. I always try and play the character in a way that people go, yeah, he's bad, but I can see why he's doing what he's doing. And I think that, I was always taught as well that if you were to go to the cinema and see somebody playing you, then you would be watching them, and everything that they did that wasn't you, you'd be going, oh, no, that's wrong. I would never do that. I would never brush my teeth in that way. I would never walk down I would never turn around that way and say something like that. And that would really irritate you. So the fact is, if you're playing a living person, you have to know their character and their in exquisite detail. But if you're playing a fictional character, you have to give that character the same respect. You have to know them in exquisite detail, as if they were actually watching the film and saying, oh yeah, you got that right. That's exactly how I would do that. That's the way I think. That's the way I move. That's the way I talk. That's the way I reply to somebody when they're being sarcastic to me. That's the way, etc. So that's it. And the word is exquisite detail. So obviously, if it's a fictional character, you have to create that yourself, but you have to create a personal world within the fictional world that is full.
I would say two things about Eddie in the Dinosaur Hotel universe. Like, one, he is a bad guy, but like he's really like a tool of the system, essentially, because he has handlers.
Yeah, well, I can't do anything about it now. She's dead. I don't control who lives and dies. I'm not God.
But then two, your performance as Eddie is like so great and specific. Has anybody ever approached you outside of movies to be like, hey, we want you to host this game show, or we want you to host this show? Because like the energy you bring, I'm like, he can do it.
That would be excellent.
Yeah. Book this man.
Yes, that would be great. I'd love to do that. Nobody has as yet.
All right.
But then I'm young.
But this is a good segue into my next bit here, because like Dinosaur Hotel 2, obviously Dinosaur Hotel 3, and then you were also in Dinosaur Prison as Dr. Johns. And I gotta ask, now, was that character like presented that way to you before the thing started, or were you like, I have an idea how this guy's gonna look, and he's gonna be like mad scientist /
Yes. Well, see, you get the script and then you discuss with the production designer and wardrobe, and they've got various ideas as to I mean, they haven't got a full picture of the character, but they've got various ideas, and sometimes it will be in consultation with the DOP. In the US, they call them cinematographers, but here we call them director of photography, because he might have a particular color palette that he's sort of looking for, And especially if we're dealing with something like in a prison, then being in a prison is not going to be the same as being in a hospital or being in a school, being in a prison. So there's a particular color palette and lighting which the DOP will have in mind right from the beginning. So you've got to work with that for things like, you know, what are you going to wear with, as far as color is concerned, or whatever. And I was thinking to myself, okay, this guy is, I mean, he's a genetic engineer. And again, this is another story which, in a lot of ways, if you were to look at it in a brainless way, you'd think, oh, it's just a monster movie. But actually, what are we talking about here? We're talking about genetic engineering and being used and abused by people. And even, I mean, Dr. Johns, I mean, he thinks he's, I mean, he originally went into it because he thought he was going to help humanity. And only afterwards, when he was stuck in it, then he realizes this is being subverted for evil means. But then he's in it.
Would you believe me if I told you this was the best of a bad situation?
I want to steer things into the films that kind of brought this film company to my attention, at least, maybe even John's attention. I want to talk about the Blood and Honey films, the Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey films, for a moment, because in the films that have been released so far, you've played two different characters. You played Colt in the first one, and you played Owl in the second one, which to me was definitely a little bit of a meaty role. Like how did it feel being in films that have kind of become like the template for other IP films going forward like this?
It was fascinating. I mean, when the first film was made, the production company had made a lot of films before that. This was just another one.
I'm aware.
We're also very aware of the films that they made.
And so initially, it wasn't. Nobody thought it was going to catch the public's imagination in the way that it did, and I mean, they thought, oh yeah, people are going to love this. People are going to be interested, and indeed they were. I mean, it was obviously going to be a little bit. It was going to rile people up. We're, like going to get people to write in going, "You have destroyed my childhood." And it's like kind of, which is laughable. Obviously, it's like kind of what?
I need to give my favorite part of Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2, where they're doing like the TV movie, like where they're showing like the TV movie, and it's actual footage from Blood and Honey. That just that shows what kind of film you guys were trying to make with Blood and Honey 2, especially because you understood, the production company definitely understood their budget constraints, because it really did look like a measly, low budget, straight to video kind of thing, maybe straight to cable. But because of that blowing up, you got to work clearly with a bigger budget, or definitely clearly a different
different echelon of movie making.
Yeah, sorry. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So what was it? Especially since Owl is such an iconic character in the Winnie the Pooh universe, how did it feel like stepping into that character, knowing that you're just bringing this wisdom, and you made it so dark? How did you approach Owl there?
Right. Well, this is okay. When it was first put to me, obviously I was delighted, because it's because Owl is the thinker and the planner, right. Obviously, and we all know that Pooh is he's a bear of little brain, so he's essentially thick, and the idea is that Owl is the one who's now, the thing is, in the original books, of course, the irony is that Owl is a real blowhard. I mean, honestly, I mean, that's the funny thing about Owl in the original. That's the joke. The joke is that he says, "Oh, I know everything," right? And he gets everything wrong. And everybody's going, "Oh, really? Really? Oh, right. Okay." And the thing is that he's obviously talking nonsense and making it up as he goes along. That's the joke. In this, of course, then I mean, this again. This is speaking to the problems of not just today, but the human problem, and it's about are people allowed to live? And in the great exposition scene, which is my favorite scene in the film, because I then explain to Owl and Piglet. No, sorry, I explain to Pooh and Piglet. Essentially, I'm explaining to them, but it's an exposition for the audience why we are doing this fight, why we are going for the humans after spending years and years living alone in the forest. Now humans are going, forest? What's the forest? What we'll do is we'll chop it down, we'll build on it, we'll move in, right? And it's that, no, right? You have exploited us for so long, and now we draw the line no further, and we're going to bring the fight to you now, because we've taken it up till now, but we can't take it anymore. That's talking about the way humans treat the earth in general, and treat animals as tools, and most humans, well, many humans treat creatures and nature in general with contempt, unfortunately. And then the second thing is, of course, is this whole, we're back to the genetic engineering issue, and it's like, what we're going to do is we're going to play with genetics, and then we're going to then do what we do, and then if it doesn't work, fine, just toss them away, doesn't matter. Yeah, it's as long as I've got my money and I'm living happily, what do I care about anybody else and anything?
I guess the other thing is, when people got a hold of Winnie the Pooh 2, and like the horror analysts got a hold of it, they drew comparisons between the 100 Acre Woods characters and modern slashers, and I believe they'd said that Owl is like Freddy Krueger. Now, did that affect your like inhabiting the character, or how do you feel about it now, hearing that comparison?
No, yeah. Well, I didn't feel it that way really, because although I am the planner and of all of these deaths, I only have a few deaths. I only get a few kills in it, because essentially I'm just a bird. I'm not. I'm not a bear or a wild boar or a raving lunatic tiger. I'm just this bird. So I get a few kills, but I don't really do a lot of killing. I'm more the puppet master for all the rest of them to do it.
I feel like I don't subscribe to these theories, but I feel it was more like an idea, like he is a cerebral man with claws, and that's Freddy Krueger to some people. They just can't go further than that. So, I mean, is that something that like you take as, like, how do you take it? Is it like flattering to you that people just immediately say like, oh, that's it?
It is flattering, obviously. I mean, actually, here's the interesting thing: when you develop a character, which will be I mean, in the script, I mean, the entire script is only 90 pages long, because it's 90 minutes, and you have only few scenes in it, and in the scenes you're probably talking to somebody else, so even in those scenes you only have half the scene. So the actual lines you get is doesn't, your preparation is this thick, and your lines are this amount. And I used to have an acting coach who used to say, it's never about the lines, it's about you. It's about what do you bring to it. And if you do it correctly, then people will project upon you what they are thinking, sometimes about you, but then sometimes even about themselves, how it could be lifting things which they don't even remember themselves from their childhood. Maybe they had some really, really nasty teacher or some so all of this is subconsciously inside, and they see and they project their experiences on you as a character. So if somebody sees Freddy Krueger, that's it. I mean, that's not what I had in mind. But if you paint enough depth in the character, people see what is within them in you.
Right. Well, speaking of deep characters, one of your more recent roles, and Will and I had just seen it recently, is you did get to play Dracula. So I want to just the most important question, I guess, is like, what Dracula performances that preceded you do you draw inspiration from, or did you just like go, I got my own idea, I'm going to do Dracula, how I do it?
Well, what I tried to do was to what I did. It's just, I mean, you could go down a rabbit hole and it will be endless. You'd spend 6 months watching Dracula films, which would be kind of slightly mad. Well, there is the original 1928, and then there is Bela Lugosi, who is absolutely terrific. Then you have my favorite actor, Klaus Kinski, who brings every role he plays, whether it be in a Herzog film or whether it be in one of the slashes, because he did loads of slashes as well and everything. He just brings more character that can fit on the screen. He's just absolutely brilliant. And so for the his Nosferatu was I mean, he plays in this sort of pathetic character who is desperate with his pain. And I wanted, I mean, you've got the Hammer House of horror films with Christopher Lee, who is another absolutely terrific actor. But sometimes, you see, that can sort of start getting a bit hammy down the. Once he was about 5, 6, 7 Hammer House of horror films in playing Dracula, and I didn't want to go down right. I wanted to make Dracula relatable, and I want people to realize everybody's been betrayed, everybody's had a love, and then it's gone. And I'm going, okay. What he wants to do is, this girl looks a bit like his old girlfriend, and but he's immortal. So what does he have to do? I mean, he's like, all right, if I make her into a vampire too, then that will be brilliant, because she looks like my old girlfriend. That obviously means she's exactly like her in every other way too, because we know how that works. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make her into a vampire too. And what's the problem? Okay, so that's a little bit selfish because he's, but the point is that he is lonely for eternity, and he is weak because he has to drink blood. Every animal has to drink. My cat has to eat meat, because cats have to eat meat. Because there's something in it there, and so it's like, that doesn't make my cat evil.
Right.
It means that it has to eat meat.
I'll say Dracula in space is like, it's a survival story. The means of survival is unorthodox, but really he's just trying to survive.
Ah, God. Centuries have passed, and still fate brings you to me.
after being cast into space.
So this is what I was trying to bring in it, because the thing is that you can't just. This is not all one-dimensional. They're good sides and bad sides, and at the end of the day, he's just trying to survive with some level of quality of life.
Right.
Yeah. There's dignity to it. Yeah. Basically, we watched that, and we like. I'd say like the only thing that I guess I'll ask you as a member of the cast is like, I feel like the only thing really holding that back was like you were obviously shooting in a set that was not a spaceship level set. So like, what were the limitations, I guess, in the production? Did you feel limitations, or was it like it didn't matter?
Well, I'm of the opinion that ultimately it doesn't matter. I mean, you can go. I mean, I know it's meant to be. I know it's a feature film, but I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, sometimes when you go to the theater, you can just have a table and a couple of chairs, and you just create the It's the characters that people. It's the character and the story. If people are going to start moaning about the fact that, oh right, no, this pencil doesn't look very 23rd century, and it's like kind of, that's not what we're here for. We're here for the story.
Right.
The story and the characters. Yeah,
I love that answer. Good.
So, a question that I asked Julia in her interview. I want to ask you, because you've done a lot of productions for ITN distributed films and stuff like that. Are there any of the films that they released that you wish you could have been a part of? And if so, why?
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, all of them.
I mean, we definitely would have appreciated it.
I mean, the thing is, where do you start with this? I mean, there's things, old Cinderella. I mean, I've been a good prince. Look at me.
I think, honestly, I would have liked you as the Mad Hatter in that Ferris of the Moon movie. 100%.
Yes.
Feels like I've seen so many of your films now. I see other films adjacent. I'm like, well, that should have been Marcus. It happens a lot.
You see, the thing is, like, it's in Dr. John's. There was this sort of, because I was thinking to myself. I mean, this wasn't something which I thought of at the time, but looking back on it, I'm thinking of Willy Wonka. And there's slightly kind of the Mad Hatter connection in one way or another, because it turned out to be quite a sort of Willy Wonka-y character.
Yeah, I'd say definitely in the 70s version, they played it like he was a straight sadist, pretty much.
Yeah, he was just like the Pied Piper the entire time.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. But it's not a useful road to go down. Going, I would like to have done this and I would like to have done that. It's a question of what's coming up next. And if you were to ask me what I really want to do, what is your, because people ask me this from time to time, what is your ideal role?
Go ahead and answer it. What is your ideal role?
Well, I asked you, if you were to ask me this, I am asking this. Oh, I'll tell you. A Bond villain.
Ooh.
And this is it, you see. What it is that one of these sort of polished, I mean, if you go to my Instagram, you'll see that a whole variety of different characters that I play in photo shoots, etc. If you imagine a polished sort of a polished British gentleman, only obviously you've got that, and then it's whoosh, and then of course transforming into this dark side of menace. And it's not like I've written the script, but obviously he will have an agenda, which in James Bond is generally an international agenda these days. And that's for me.
We're familiar with the Bond universe. Is there a Bond movie that you think is your favorite that you would draw from the most? Like, is there a Bond villain you would draw from the most?
Oh, I mean, there's so many good people, aren't there? I mean,
Yes.
I mean, you can go right back to Christopher Lee. I mean, you've got that, but I mean, you know what, Christopher Walken.
Yes.
I mean, when you've got a character, when you've got an actor like that, because again, Christopher Walken is again one of, I mean, he's I'd put him in this kind of Klaus Kinski bracket of full intensity without appearing to say or do very much.
Yes.
Right. Absolutely.
And that's what a full developed character is. You walk
And I
into a
guess-
room, you don't have to say anything, and then it's like kind of, oh,
That leads me to it's kind of sidestep to a question that we also asked Julia, but like Bond villains get like usually pretty fantastical deaths. And there's some movies you've been in, some movies we haven't mentioned where you just play like a regular, kind of like character of like the regular platoon of people getting killed by a slasher. Like I go to Tooth Fairy 4, which you were in, and you get hit with a hammer by the front door. And did you ever say to a director, it's like, I don't want to go out like this. Can I get a more fantastical death?
it's all planned. It's
Yeah.
all in the script. You can't. You don't want to be. You don't want to be the kind of actor who goes, "Oh right, yeah, like kind of, oh yeah, here's the script. I'd love to play the character." And then as soon as they give you the part, go, "Oh, and by the way, can we change scene 23, 26, 29, and 42?"
I would.
Because I don't fancy that. I mean,
That's a fair enough answer. You're giving all the right answers. I wouldn't expect you to go, yeah, I didn't want to do that. But it'll segue us into this. We know what your dream role would be, but like, so what, and we know obviously Winnie the Pooh 3 is coming out and a bunch of more stuff in the Twisted Universe, the Poohniverse. Are there any other projects you got in the making that we should be looking for when they come out?
Well, there are, but it's all in production at the moment, and I've actually, outside of the production, I've heard nothing about it, not even that it's happening. I know it's happening, but it appears that the world doesn't know, and so therefore it's not for me to do it because it's for the production to talk about it.
That's fair.
But I think it's going to be a lot of fun when it's finished, and it is going to be a lot of fun, and I think you're going to enjoy. That sounds very big-headed, isn't it?
We will.
You're going to enjoy what I do in it.
Well, I guess one thing you might be able to talk about, and again, don't give away any secrets, but like, what is the PR packet they've given you? If people ask you about Winnie the Pooh 3, like, what are we expecting here? Like,
right, yes. It's going to be a lot of surprises, and it's going to be a lot of fun for everybody. Things and people that nobody necessarily expects, and again, a really strong story about animals, humans, exploitation, pain, fighting against bad people, etc.
cool.
So it's going to be a lot of drama and action. Oh, and lots of flashing lights.
Yes, warning for you at home. Lots of flashing lights in these Winnie the Pooh movies.
Yes.
And we would be remiss if we didn't ask you, like, you do so much horror. What's your favorite horror movie or actors, or what are you into when you're watching movies yourself?
Oh, right. Well, I mean, I've already mentioned Klaus Kinski, and actually, my favorite film is probably Fitzcarraldo, which is about a guy played by Kinski who is mad, which is perfect for Kinski, and he wants to build a opera house in the middle of the jungle, and they actually, whilst filming, they actually did drag a boat over a hill, and Kinski was so crazy that a lot of the local people in South America where they were shooting were I mean, they just essentially, they went to the director and said, okay, look, here's the thing, we'll kill him for you. And
I can imagine the locals don't like it.
it was, it was nuts. But not only is the film fantastic, but the film about the making of the film is also fantastic. And Herzog talks about it all the time, and so that is big drama, and a lot of fun.
I guess outside of acting, I can tell just by the background of where you're sitting. Obviously, maybe music. What other things are you doing in your spare time?
Oh, when I get spare time, which is well, oh yeah, when. Then I do like to play music. But the thing is, I'm not actually that good. But it doesn't matter because when you're recording, you just do it again and again until you get it right. And the other thing is that unlike playing live, you can divide it into sections. I went to a gig once, and it was a jazz gig, etc. And the guitar, I mean, I was watching the car, and the guitarist came to me because he got a sense that I understood what he was doing and how he was doing it, etc. And we had a chat afterwards, and I said exactly that to him, and he goes, "I'll tell you a secret. We do that too."
That's great.
And I'm going, oh, right, well, it's not really a secret. Right, yeah. Let me just play. I mean, obviously it makes sense. And yeah, divide it into sections and then just do that until that's right. And then do that bit, and then that's right. And then, I mean, that's it. That's that, you know, when you go. So that's what I love doing. I love walking. I've just been to Scotland. And it's walking around in Scotland. I have a cat and birds, and so I look after them.
All right. And I guess this is the best part to say, like, where do people find you? If they're just discovering you now, where you been, everybody? But like, where do people find more of you, like on the internet, like, if they want to see more?
I try and regularly post on Instagram, and then if anything's happening, then you'd know about it there, and I keep it up to date, and hope and I kind of like doing a lot of variety there as well. So it's almost, and this is one of the reasons why I like character modeling, because I think that it really helps with acting as well. Because the thing is, with acting, you've got your body and your voice, which is what we call your instrument, your body and the voice. That's what you have to use. And with your body becomes movement. But when you're character modeling, you just have your body. So essentially what you have to do is you have to portray the character. You've got to have the full story, but you only have your body to do it with. You don't have your voice or your movement to do it with. So there's nothing to fall back on. You can't sort of cover it up by going, all right, yeah, but I'm moving in a particular way. Not that you should be doing that anyway. You should have you should be completely natural rather than acting. Yeah, the worst thing about actors is if they act, they have to be, because otherwise it's like, oh, there's somebody acting. That's not real. What you need is a situation where, I mean, this doesn't necessarily have to be if you're a big film star. Although sometimes it can happen with film stars like Daniel Day-Lewis, for example. But in general, you want people to believe what they're seeing is real, as opposed to being happy going, although there's somebody acting a part.
Right.
And actually, I've got another acting coach who says this, and he goes, as far as acting is concerned, there is only one test, and that is, do I believe you?
That's wise.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like I want to end this. I could talk to you for hours, but I'm at the end of my questions for you. Is there anything we didn't ask you that like you want to talk about, promote? The floor is yours.
Yeah. Anything. What do it? I think that if you are interested in acting or expressing yourself in any way, there's so many ways to do it. There is music, and there's acting. The other thing about acting is that you can go out and you can start in any capacity. There's probably some amateur acting thing going around in your hometown or close to that, but it's the act of expressing yourself, and sometimes by putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, and then that is very, very compelling, and I think good for you.
All right.
And so I want to say that it's not the answer to everything, but I think it is an outlet that should satisfy a lot of people. Have to go through life. It's not their fault. It's the reality. They start off when they're young, and if they're not feeling, I mean, you know, when you're born, if you're not feeling good or there's something wrong or whatever, then you cry and you're told, shut up. No, you don't want to cry. You don't want to cry. That's wrong. So then, of course, you stop. You have to cover it up. You might feel like that, but you go, oh, right, yeah, you know, what is right? What is right? When you get to the world of work, you go to work, you're expected to behave in a certain manner, and you have to layer yet another level of conceit around you. You've got to be nice to people you don't like. You've got to behave in a certain way that is pertinent to the particular job you're in, and that can be very, very frustrating for you in your subconscious, because because inside you forget who you are. And in acting, what you can do is you peel away like an onion. You peel away until you get to, oh yeah, I forgot that this is who I actually am in the first place. And then, of course, you've got the other thing, which is every day you're slightly different. As you age, over a period of 5 years, for example, you obviously change, but you don't change immediately after a 5-year period. You incrementally change a little bit every day. You're 1 day older physically. You've got 1 day's more experience, and sometimes you wake up and you're feeling good. Sometimes you wake up and you go, oh, I don't fancy today, but I have to get up and I have to do things that have to be done. And and so you change incrementally every day. So not only are you discovering yourself whilst going through the process, but yourself is changing as well. So you discover yourself anew every day. And that is fascinating and I think important.
I would agree with everything you said. I was not expecting to get all this philosophy here, but I'm so happy that we got a lot of it, because who knows how these interviews go, but you have been totally open and willing to share like all these nuggets of wisdom. I hope people watch this. I hope people like come to find you, watch your movies, and then seek you out for more knowledge, because obviously you have a lot to give to people, and I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. It's actually a delight. It's a lot of fun. I love it. I love it.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, Will, did you have any last things for Marcus?
No, I don't have any further questions, but Marcus, it has been an absolute joy to have you on the show. I think like While this is only our second one, I think I was a little starstruck, honestly, just because we've seen so many of your films, and so this was an absolute honor for you to come on our show. So thank you so much.
Oh no, it's honor for me, And what can I say apart from it's nice to meet you, and owls well that ends well.
Absolutely.
It's a great note to end on, Marcus. Again, appreciate very much. Put you backstage. I'm going to put a close on the show. Will, we did it. Another great interview. Hey, if you made it this far in the video, like, comment, subscribe, and share. Go to the Facebook group at Why We Love Horror. Marcus is there. And check out the Letterboxd challenge there. You can watch movies with us all year. But until next time, I am JWMaher, and that's Will Cohen for the great Marcus Massey. This has been the Why We Love Horror and Versus interview series, episode 2. We'll see you next time we do one of these.